Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. All right, let's see what our stream looks like here. Bad streaming status. Always a good start. See who's in. QB was first. Yeah, it does look like a Pokemon, doesn't it? She's talking about the thumbnail. Life Matrix, Janice Windsor, Ghosty333, Mishka the Cat, Dark Wolf's Den, Miss Imaginary, and an Angel. Janice, oh, got that one already. Data Junkie, Brian Stavely. It's already getting jumpy. Shari D is in. Autumn Nichols. Jacqueline M, I'm not sure if I got you. Charlotte of Faith. Lord Fry Bread. Biz Woofer. Kim J. Anna Z. Welcome, everybody. Okay. The first one, I just found out about this one. This one is from Bob Bobertson. This is a weird one. I don't know, maybe it's just some weird thing I've never heard of before, but it's trippy. Apparently, you can relight a candle using just the smoke of the candle. Never seen this before. I have covered a lot of MEs where fire is acting strangely, like the fire tornadoes, things that just did not exist in my old timeline. So I do suspect that this is related. I'm just going to play a really short clip. But basically, they have, there's a flame, like a candle and a flame. You blow out the candle, and then when you want to relight it, you just put the match way up in the region only, and the flame jumps down and relights the candle. I'm just going to play this slow motion clip because I don't want to get a copyright strike. So here we go. All right, so if you saw that, basically they blow out the candle and you just have the smoke coming up, and then from way up here they light the candle, and then the smoke jumps down, the flame jumps all the way down and relights the candle. It looks like a trip. Now the story supposedly is that after you burn out the candle, there's a little bit of wax still in the smoke, and that little bit of wax is enough to light the candle. I don't know. It's just weird. I can't swear on that one, but I think it's mighty suspicious. So I just wanted to play that one. I don't know, has anybody ever heard of that trick before? Because that's just the kind of thing that I think is the coolest thing ever, and I've never heard of it. All right, so next one. All right, I was researching something else, and this one caught my eye because this one keeps changing, and it's kind of a boring little detail to some, but I've mentioned this before, that in my old timeline there were two commonwealths, and it was Guam and Puerto Rico, and those are commonwealths of the United States. And my mom lived in Guam for many years, over 10 years I believe, and so I had learned a fair lot about Guam so that I could explain it to other people. And I checked into this many times because every few years I would recheck it, check all my facts so that I was not spreading any incorrect information. Well, after the Emmy, I looked into it again, or ran across something, and Guam was no longer a commonwealth. And what was weird was, okay, it became this unincorporated organized territory, which is a designation I'd never heard of before. And then Northern Mariana Islands had become the Commonwealth, and Guam was not. And so it had switched to just Guam, Northern Mariana Islands and Puerto Rico were the two Commonwealths. Guam and Puerto Rico. I never even heard of Northern Mariana's Islands being part of the United States before, so I don't know exactly what they were designated, but they weren't Commonwealths, and there was just the two. Okay, so now I'm looking at it today, and Northern Mariana Islands is no longer a commonwealth exactly, and I'll have to get into that in a minute. Now they are an unincorporated organized territory, same as Guam. and Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. All of them are all unincorporated organized territory. So Puerto Rico is not a commonwealth anymore either. So that's two things that have changed since last time. Last time, Northern Mariana Islands and Puerto Rico were commonwealths, and now they are unincorporated organized territories. Now, these were split differently before. They would have the listing for Guam as being as unincorporated organized territory, and then they would have down here, they would have like stuff like Guam. I mean, like these. So these are all just territories now, I guess, and they have this unorganized designation. A lot of these I've not heard of. Navassa Island, Kingman Reef, Johnston Atoll, Jarvis Island, Howland Island. Anyway, so I guess these are all territories now. They're just unorganized. So I looked this up. What's an unorganized territory? It was pretty vague. You might want to look up the definition, but they kind of yammer on and on, but basically they're saying that it's a less organized government than an organized territory. So there isn't a really super clear definition here. They're also saying usually these are less populated regions. Anyway, so this whole legality status of these other locations are it's just constantly shifting. Also, incorporated territory. I've never heard of this incorporated territory, and there's this place called Palmyra Atoll that apparently is that. The other thing that Bob Bobertson was kind of bringing up, and I just saw a video, and he watches the same channel, Quantum of Conscious is the YouTube channel, was talking about Washington, D.C. as a federal district. Now, I used to just see this as being, I never saw this as separate district here listed out as part of what makes up the United States, the 50 states, and the federal district. I have not seen that being called like split out from the states like that before, and I think that's a little suspicious. They always used to say it's 50 states now, but what makes up the U.S. is 50 states, a federal district, an unincorporated territory I've never heard of, and then all this other stuff, terminology I've never heard of. So just weird. I don't know. I think this unincorporated, unorganized territories is kind of opening the door for a lot more islands and stuff, which is some of the things that we've been seeing here. A lot of islands up in here, looks like. Okay, so anyway, the boring stuff. This describes how the Commonwealth means nothing. So apparently, now Puerto Rico has the word Commonwealth in its title, but that word means nothing. So saying something's a Commonwealth means nothing now. Though that's dead. So that's kind of a pattern. At first, less and less things were Commonwealth. Now it means nothing. So anyway, big ME for me because I've been yammering on and on about Guam having changed and Northern Mariana Islands having changed, and now Puerto Rico changed and Mariana changed again. Interestingly, this is I ran into this just looking up what makes up the United States, but it happens to be a fact myth thing talking about the common misconception that there are more than 50 states in America. Myth, and then they just say, oh, you just got confused or something, the usual. All right, so anyway, that's that. Okay, we got okay status. Dun, dun, dun. Buffering bad. Yeah, sorry, I can't do too much. You might want to try refreshing it. Sometimes it's on your end, and refreshing it'll fix it. I've had my share of those problems too when I watch other streams. If they blew out the candle, didn't the smoke blow away too? Well, you know, when you blow out a candle, then there's smoke still comes up. So I guess that's their point. I just find it hard to believe that there's enough wax in the smoke to actually alight like that, in that organized a way. But I have kind of noticed, you know, I know some people who vape, and I've noticed this last 6 months, I don't know how to describe it, but the way the smoke hangs in the air, like in these, it's very cohesive now. So they'll smoke and they'll just be this weird, surreal, like, I don't know, like it just hangs like that. And you can, it stays in its little sheets or something. It's a trip. I've never, used to be smoke would just dissipate. It would, you know, through what's that word? Diffusion. It would just diffuse and disappear. But now sometimes it's so much more cohesive now. Wood ducks. I don't know, that sounds kind of familiar. Wood ducks. I mean, I've heard of ducks made out of wood that they use for hunting. I've heard of... Yeah. Oh, you're talking about those weird mandarin things? Those are a little... me. I saw one maybe like 10 or 15 years ago. And I was shocked at it. It was so beautiful. And so someone said, oh, that's a mandarin duck. There's a lake near here that I saw it at. But they have continued to change. They didn't have this funky thing on them before that came up like this. Ironically, I actually have a image of one of these in one of my Chinese screens behind me here. And the image has been changing. And one thing it grew was these funky flap things that it didn't used to have. It used to be completely white too. It wasn't clearly a mandarin duck originally. It was just a plain duck. But then the weirdest thing is, there's about 3 years ago maybe. First, the head got all this color on my photo and my picture. And then it looked stupid because the head was really colorful, but the body was plain. And then slowly the body got color, and then these things came up. Yeah, they're a lot higher now. The ones on mine come up like that. It's just weird. I'm looking behind me because it's actually behind me. It's something I look at all the time, so... So yeah, I had mandarins, but they have evolved some since then. And I might have doubted a little bit, but I've even seen the carving. It's actually a screen that's carved out of wood, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, that's carved out of wood and then it's painted. Shari, is it buffering for everybody or is it just for Shari? Uh-oh. No data. Yeah, I don't think there's too much I could do about it. The computer seems to be working fine from my end. At least so far. Uh-oh. Buffering on your end, huh? Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, the computer's been working good all day, so... But the commercial ran fine. Yeah, it may well be something on my end. Sometimes ISPs will throttle certain information for various reasons that nobody can fully explain. So somebody's already tested it out with the candle flame. Yeah, I actually just saw that like an hour before I started, and I didn't have a candle available. But yeah, good idea to try it. I remember seeing something similar with France. Dominica, not Dominican Republic, was one of the French overseas departments. Oh, interesting. Okay. DC used to be counted in the 48. That's how I remembered it. It's interesting because a few videos are starting to come out that Bob Bobertson was noticing where, and I had just heard, maybe 6 months ago, that the Vatican is considered its own, supposedly, its own little country, inside, and it has its own legal jurisdiction and everything. And then I think that also they were saying that the royal family in UK has its own legal jurisdiction region, and that it's totally autonomous with its own police. And now they're saying that about DC, and suddenly it has its own separate district, and it's showing as a separate district. And they're saying that it has separate rules and that kind of thing. It's just kind of a little bit of mumbling about it for DC right now, but there seems to be a real pattern like that. I mean, obviously there's a lot of conspiracy theories that you could jump all over on that. But there definitely seems to be a huge trend in that line, because that's what I remember too, that it was just, kind of a thing for mail and stuff. Washington D.C. It's a district, it's a region, but it's not its own separate. I mean, just like there's different districts and regions within California, they don't have their own separate legal system. So when you hear that something's a district, you're just meaning it's a region. You're not thinking, oh, it's a whole different country with its own laws and stuff. So I don't know. It's just weird. It's hard. Some of these things are really hard to have predicted in advance. The ducks have claws for climbing trees. Oh, really? Wood ducks have claws. So many of the birds now have claws on their wings. Ducks' webbed feet allow them to maneuver easily. Unlike most ducks, wood ducks have claws on their feet. Oh, I see. They have claws on their feet, not on their wings, that make them adapted for perching. Okay, that's not quite as weird, but a lot of birds do have claws on the wings now, including, as I've mentioned in the past, the ordinary chicken that you eat for dinner. Check the wings. It now has a claw on each wing. Creepy. Okay, ducks with claws. Yeah, that does seem weird that I do not recall any ducks, webbed feet ducks having claws on the webbing area. Have claws. I'll get rid of that wings thing since that's not right now. Come along. This is running kind of slow. Oh, look, there they are. So there's some little claws right there on the edge of the webbing. Huh. Interesting. I can't say I knew ducks well enough to know that wasn't the case, but I mean, we've just seen so much of this weird stuff, so. All right, let's see, who are we now? DC has always been its own little area, but now they're saying there's starting to be mumbles about it having its own laws and its own constitution and stuff like that. That's what's different, is people are starting to say that it is basically has its separate, more separate than before. I mean, you can demarcate a place and say, oh, this is the city of San Diego, but that doesn't make it substantially different in the same way that they're saying that Washington, D.C. is different. Morning all, how come it started an hour early? It didn't start an hour early for here, but we had a time change. So apologies if it confused anybody. I never know which other countries are doing their time changes at what time. Daylight savings time in my old timeline. Just daylight saving. I have trouble saying it the new way. Daylight saving time in this timeline. Claws like chickens, not new for me personally. So, but did your chickens have claws on their wings? Because that one just developed for me like 2 years ago. Yeah, they had claws on their feet, but not on their wings. I'm in love, I am light. Isn't that next week? California, we just did the switch. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Data junkie, not on wings, I mean on feet. Yeah, fryer chickens now have claws on their wings. Try to remember what you remember a chicken wing looking like, when you're cooking it, before you put it in when you just have the raw chicken. Remember what the chicken wing looks like. Okay, now go look at them. Let's see. Chicken wing. Chicken wing. Remember what a chicken wing looks like. Doop, doop, doop. Okay, so it's right here. See that? That's the claw. Now my old chicken wing it didn't have that thing there. This part looked a little different. This part would kind of curve around. You didn't have this little flare thing here. It was more like this one. And then just imagine that stuck on there. It wasn't separate. It didn't have its own little. Anyway, so that's the claw. That's where the claw is. It just looks weird. See, there's another one. Yep. Chicken claws. A lot of birds have claws on the wings now. In my old timeline, no birds had claws on their wings. What, it went back to savings? All right, let's just check. I'm pretty sure it was still saving last I checked. Savings time. I'll type it in that way. There's still, oops. Showing rules for daylight. Nah, you know what? It's still reversing back to daylight saving time. Also, oh, they're calling it, now there's two, also daylight savings time or daylight time. Also summertime. There's still, showing rules for daylight. You know what? I accidentally started the video on my other computer. That's why you heard me talking. Okay. Daylight saving time, daylight saving time. History, rationale. It looks like it's pretty much still all saving time. this one here is saying that it could be with the S or without, but even though I typed in with the S, it's all coming up without the S, like 99%. All right, let's look at the wiki just for fun. I noticed the ME really likes this double version thing. When we looked in this before, we did not see the S being allowed, but see, look here, daylight savings time, also daylight save. I have trouble saying it the new way. Daylight saving time, also daylight savings time, or daylight time. Also summertime. Okay, well, that's UK. I don't know. All right, so they're allowing both now, but this one still predominates. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Last time I checked, the S was not allowed, but apparently now it is okay. I don't know if this keeps up. There's going to be like 10 versions of everything before we're done. Eva, have you heard of the Colugo? Yeah, that one we've covered. I've covered those a couple times. First, just the back on the weird wings, then the weird body, and the front view showed up. Only recall chickens never flew. You know, they could just kind of flap around, but it definitely seems like they fly better now. And of course, what is those pink ones? Flamingos didn't used to fly. Also, peacocks, I think, fly a lot better than they used to. They used to just kind of flutter around. Saw the goats climbing the trees. Weird. Yeah, the goats, I do remember them being good at climbing, but not way up into the trees like that. Not like stacks of goats all over the trees like ornaments either. My news people use savings. Yeah, it was interesting the last few years with that ME that most of the news people were trying to switch over to not having the S, but apparently now the S is somewhat okay. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if maybe the ME just kind of makes alterations if people cannot adapt to the new reality fast enough. Yeah, it was always with an S before. Always. There was no short one. Peacocks couldn't fly in my timeline. Yeah, that was one I saw a couple years ago. There was a video. All these peacocks flying over a lake. And that's what got me because I'd seen them flutter up into a tree for a short distance, but not over a large body of water where they could drown. I had not seen that. Weird new one for me. Blood of centipedes glow. Okay, there's a new one. Centipedes glow. Glowing centipede blood, huh? You can't make this stuff up. Okay, I reconnected to a different server for my ISP. Let's see if that helps, because it looks like I did not have any there. Okay, much better. That was quick. All right, let's try the glowing blood of the fire centipede. So yes, I lost internet connection for a while there. I think I have it back now. Stream status good. Let's play the... Ew, look, they cut it and it's all glowing. Creepy. Look at that, it really glows too. Wow. All right, let's see what the storyline behind glowing centipede blood is. Bioluminescent slime. I wonder, is it all centipedes or just some? I'm going to write this down so I remember it for later. What is the reason? Can someone please explain? Centipedes have a phosphorescent fluid which glows in their body. It will glow at night. Actually, centipedes use this fluid as a defense mechanism against its enemies. So they're just using it as like, kind of sounds like a general thing that centipedes do. Now, I covered before that there's worms and this and that now that glow in the dark here in like America now. Which is obviously an Emmy for me. There was no, the only glow in the dark things originally, the first ones I'd heard of were the deep sea creatures. And then they said that there was the red tide, but it was all sea creatures. But then it started to be fungus and insects. And we did have fireflies before. That was the only exception. Spooky greens of lichens on bone bare branches. Lichens aren't actually luminous, but there are some parasitic fungi that make timber glow in the dark. All right. This is interesting. Okay, so they're saying reports in Britain of luminous owls, glow-in-the-dark owls. So they're saying that the owls may have picked up a phosphorescence from roosting in the crumbling touchwood of a tree smitten with honey fungus. And honey fungus glows in the dark. Anyway. Oh, the relevant chemical in animals, which glows in the dark, is named luciferin, after Lucifer. This is interesting, but before, when they first came out with the bioluminescent yammer, they would always say it was bioluminescent bacteria. But now, kind of commensal bacteria that are housed within the animal. But now they're saying that there's a whole separate chemical that the animals produce. Pyrophorus, a creature so bright it's used in place of candles. Pyrophorus. There's a lot of interesting stuff on this irishtimes.com. This creature so bright it's used in place of candles. Click bees. Okay, I think we've covered those before because they have that weird glow-in-the-dark eye thing. Pyrophorus noctilucus. It used to just be fireflies, but interesting, they do look pretty bright. So they're calling it the light of Lucifer. There's an interesting title for you. An odd thing about the light of Lucifer, released from luciferin, is that it's entirely free from ultraviolet and infrared rays and falls wholly within the very narrow yellow-green band of visible light that looks brightest to the human eye, which leads me to wonder, why don't animals produce their light in wavelengths that only they can see and thus conceal it, as it were, under a bushel? Okay, so luciferin is now the glow-in-the-dark stuff. I'm betting that we will see additional chemicals with other colors. That is my prediction. All right, stream status looks okay. Fossa is new to most people, but not to me. Yeah, Fossa is new for me. Have you heard of a plant in the ocean that grows a brain so it can move, and then when it finds a new home, it eats its brain? No, I have not heard. There's a lot of them this week. Oof, I want to find that one. Giant kelp. Right, I'll see if it's this observed creature of the week. Okay, siphonophores, we've covered those before. I don't think that's the brain growing one, though. If you have any hints on what they're calling it, it looks like it's plants have brains. Discover plants have brains that determine when they grow. What are brain? Corals. I'm not really seeing the plant. Yeah, if you figure out the name of it. Oh, a sea squirt. Interesting. Sea squirt. Rose brain. All right, I'm writing that one down. Eats brain. All right. Starting off as an egg, it quickly develops to a tadpole, complete with a spinal cord, connected to a simple eye, and a tail for swimming. Has a primitive brain. Once it finds a suitable place to attach itself, it never moves again. Are members of the phylum Chordata, which includes animals with spinal cords. But unlike humans, sea squirts don't keep their brains and spinal cords forever, which is most fascinating. Its brain is absorbed by its body after it stops moving. That is interesting. Sea squirt. You know, I've definitely seen them talk about sea squirts on TV before. They've managed to fail to mention how it grows a brain and then eats it. Seems like it's really... Now, there have been in the last year a lot of really weird images of sea squirts. Looks like we have some glow-in-the-dark ones and all kinds of weird things. It seems like it's really, the ME is breaking down the barriers between things. Between plants and animals, cold-blooded, warm-blooded, male, female. there's just so many barriers. The species borders, there's a lot of diseases that cross the borders. There's a lot of cross-species mating that is now viable that did not used to be. Anyways, so a lot of weird creatures in the sea squirt land too. Pinecone fish glows orange during the day. Would not even be surprised at this point. Pinecone fish. You gotta wonder what this one is. The innocent looking pinecone fish is hiding a terrifying internal something. Dare I dare click on a YouTube and get a bunch of advertising? Internal skeleton. All right, we'll click on Daily Mail and see. Is hiding a terrifying internal skeleton of spiky armor. Really? The fish's skeleton has this layer of spiny armor built from smaller sections. Are you serious? So what, the inside of this fish just looks like the outside? Look at that thing. Okay, this one is a species pale luminous organs on either side of its lower jaw, which produce bioluminescent green glow that reportedly changes to red as the fish ages. Okay, so this one's saying it's green to red by age. Weird. All right, well, okay. I'll just let you guys come up with all the MEs today because it's easier than me trying to think of any. Does anyone remember all of the M&M guys being male? Originally, I think so. Then the girl showed up later. That one would take a bit of research. You'd have to go and find out when they were started, what characters were there originally. There are now amazing pics of all the people involved in Lincoln assassination, including their hanging. I almost hate to look because it's probably going to be all creepy, but... Yeah, we didn't have any pictures of Lincoln for me originally because cameras weren't invented then. We only had portraits, painted portraits. Oh, so they got the photos of all of them now. And they hung them all, I guess you're saying. Look at that. So you got the image of all the hung people too. Wow. Yeah, that's new. Look at that. 3 men and 1 woman. You know what's interesting in this timeline compared to my old timeline? There's a lot more violence committed by women. The last couple of years, I mean, in my old timeline, it was almost unheard of if you heard of a violent shooting. It was just literally would have been shocking if it turned out it was a woman. But especially this year, I'm hearing all the time about some woman shot up the place or beat somebody to death or just some really violent thing. That used to be just pretty much almost, 99.9% of the time it was men who did that. Now, women would do other things, shoplifting, theft, that kind of stuff. But serious violent crime was just incredibly rare before. Dang, I don't remember. Oh, that was Wilkes. Wait. I don't know. It just looks different. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, speaking of the devil, what was I seeing? Somebody was saying, I think last week I was saying that Lincoln was one of the few that didn't have a bad reputation yet. And I saw something recently about him being a bad guy. I don't remember if I wrote it down on here. Ah, yes. Okay, we'll get to it, hopefully. Why is the Quantum of Conscious channel named the Quantum of Consciousness? I've only been watching that a few weeks, so I can't help you. Wouldn't be surprised, though. I remember there was just a pencil painting of the event, no pics. Yeah, there were no photos. I didn't even have photos of Lincoln. Not even when he was old. Did you look into the Frank Sinatra singing Can't Take My Eyes Off of You? Yeah, I looked into the fact that he didn't now, apparently. I only ever remember hearing his version, Frank Sinatra's version of I Can't Take My Eyes Off You. But I don't recognize any of the current versions of the song. I think I mentioned in the comments before that one of my old bosses just loved the classics. I don't know if his dad always listened to him or what, but he used to play this old classical station in it. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say the classics because it wasn't Beethoven, but it was like Frank Sinatra and all from that era. And so there was just tons of Frank Sinatra all the time. And I got really used to that one song among others, but that was one of the songs they played all the time. And I Did It My Way was on all the time. And it was always Sinatra for me. I haven't even heard those other versions. I remember Quantum of Consciousness. Let me just bop over here really quick. Quantum of Conscience. Now, he could have changed it. Keep in mind that you can change, very easily, you can change the title of your channel. So he may have just changed it. I don't know. But he probably should have mentioned it unless he did it a long time ago. But, I'm not saying that everybody whose channel has changed names is faking it, though, because we've definitely seen a lot of changes on the Reddit accounts, and you can't change your name at any way on your Reddit accounts. So it's happening on the Reddit accounts. It makes sense that it's also happening on the YouTube accounts. You just can't know for sure on YouTube. You have to check, and you have to trust the person of what they say on YouTube. I love the song, but it was not Frankie who sang it. I can't say if it was him who sang it originally. I just know he did sing it. There was a version where he sang it, and they played it all the time. Okay, so where are we here? We have made almost no progress. All right, I'm going to cover, let me just cover most of Bob's stuff first here. Look at that. I've talked an hour and I've hardly even gotten started on the first page. All right, one thing I should immediately cover then is what's that thing on the front page? It is a spider, believe it or not. It's a bunny spider. I know, someone said it looked like a Pokemon. This is a bunny spider. Just ridiculous looking, stupid thing. Look at that thing. It doesn't even look like those two parts belong together. Bunny spider. And sometimes they call it dog spider, I guess, because it kind of looks like a dog face, a bunny dog. Head that looks surprisingly like a rabbit or a dog. See if there's any video of it. Bunny harvestman in action.
This firm keeps
First,
working
commercials.
because we don't look at certain things. We don't pick at certain scabs.
All right, so there it is. See if we can get any moving out of it. Wonder what it's doing there. Coating something with, oh, it's cleaning its feet. Okay, got it. Huh. Anyways, so, yep, there you go. Looks like a Ghibli movie creature. Yeah, it doesn't look real. It looks like some little kid drew it. Bunny spider. Yep. Bunny harvestman spider. It's interesting here because the scientific name Metrogrin Bioluminescence. I wonder if that's going to be like luminata, like it's going to be some illumination kind of a thing. I'm just kind of wildly guessing, but Bioluminescence. It sounds like lumen. That's why I'm curious if they're going to come out that it is some kind of a genre or species that illuminate. This tiny arachnid with a black bunny head is totally real. This is another thing I saw just this week. This animal is an arachnid, not a spider. Now, I just saw, this is the second time I've seen this sentence, and it was on something else before this. Arachnids were spiders in my timeline. Apparently, spiders are just a subset of arachnids now. All right, anyway. Well, at least it's not as creepy as a lot of spiders. All right, this one's from Bob Bobertson. We've discussed some of these before. Attacks on U.S. soil during World War II. Originally, in my timeline, there were no attacks on U.S. soil, and then that one in California, where some sub lobbed a couple bombs off the coast of California, showed up, and there was that bombing of the Statue of Liberty showed up. So apparently now there's been 5. Now this Duquesne spy ring, where these people, well, that's interesting. I thought it was just a few of the Duquesne spy ring last I checked. The Duquesne spy ring included 30 men. and 3 women operated under direction of Frederick Fritz Joubert Duquesne. Members of Duquesne's clandestine cell found their way into key civilian jobs in the United States. Some operatives served as couriers. Duquesne's spy ring gained significant intelligence in American shipping patterns. Despite his early successes, Duquesne's spy ring toppled in 1941 when a new recruit became a double agent. Okay. That one I don't recall ever hearing, actually, until just now. I do not remember anything about that one. All right, this is the one that's older for me, the bombing of Elwood Field. Damaged a well. Lobbed 16 shells at Elwood Beach. Minor damage to the oil field, a pump house. All right, the bombing of Fort Stevens and Lookout air raids. This one is fairly new one. After trailing American fishing vessels to bypass minefields, this sub made its way to the mouth of Columbia River, surfaced near Fort Stevens, lobbed some bombs. The story is that Fort Stevens decided not to return fire because it would give away their position, and the plan worked. The bombardment was totally unsuccessful. That one I've just heard about a few months ago. Now this is the one I remember I was confusing with the Duquesne one. They snuck some enemies on shore, and the enemies were supposed to like bomb things and stuff. Now I don't remember this part. Each team carried up to 84,000 in cash. That's a lot of money, and enough explosives to wage a long campaign of sabotage. And then somebody blabbed, and that's how those guys got found. Okay, this is another older one. The Japanese fire balloons. Supposedly they floated fire balloons over the United States. There was a lot of them. Even killed some woman. That's an older Emmy, and that's totally weird. So anyway, there's 5 of them is my point. You can kind of keep an eye on this now and see. I have a feeling we're going to see more, because that seems to be the pattern, that these just keep showing up. They did not mention the Statue of Liberty one on here, so that could be a 6th one. Okay. Now, either you guys have stopped talking, or I am not getting the chat here. Combined disasters are in this reality. There is a heck of a lot of bombings, terrorism, and stuff in our past now that was not there before. Did I see the satanic leaf-tailed gecko? I did see it, but I'm not sure if I've ever had that on here. Well, I guess we'll find out. It has glow-in-the-dark luciferin next. I saw an image. It was kind of, that one has been really viral. Now there was one that was really red. I'm not seeing the right image of it. It was kind of like maybe that one. You can't see that much. There, okay. That kind of shows it. It's not the world's best image, but that's probably the best image. There was one that went viral that was extra creepy looking because of the pose it had. Anyone remember the nonsense of Lucille Ball discovering a spy ring through hearing their radio with her teeth? What? Is that real? Sorry. Come on. All right. All right, I gotta look this one up. Okay, if this is real, I'm gonna. Did Lucille Ball use her feelings to spy? Oh, okay, let's check Snopes, but. Oh my God. Status undetermined. Oh, ho, 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 ho. All right. Television comedian Lucille Ball claimed radio transmissions picked up on her feelings led to the capture of Japanese spies. Oh, ho, ho. I've never heard that. That is not something that someone would forget. Now, this whole hearing radio signals through the dental work thing, I have heard rumors about that. And there was like one regular civilian person who claimed that happened. They didn't pick up any spy rings, though. All right, so she gets dental fillings, begins to pick up radio broadcasts through his teeth. Let's see. Television episodes in the play. Okay. Sounds too wacky even for an episode of Gilligan's Island. It's been reported as a true story once, which was allegedly happened to one of the biggest stars on TV. As Lucy tells the story, the events took place in 1942 when she was filming Dewberry Was a Lady with Red Skelton. All right, so she's claiming this happened. Residents along the Pacific coast of California lived in fear of an imminent attack by Japanese, especially after a Japanese submarine appeared off the coast of Santa Barbara. They just mentioned the exact ME that we were just talking about. That was the bombing of Elwood Field. All right. Well, anyway, so I guess the ME is shopping this ME around. Lucy had recently had several temporary lead fillings installed, and when she drove home from MGM to the ranch she and Desi owned, this is what she reported one night. Blah, blah, blah. The music came louder. My mouth was humming and thumping. I thought I was losing my mind. All of a sudden, my mouth jumped. It wasn't music. It was Morse code. It started softly, and then it was loud, and then it started fading. She backed up the car until it was full strength. The next day, I told the MGM security office about it, and they called the FBI. And sure enough, they found an underground Japanese radio station. It was somebody's gardener, but sure enough, they were spies. Huh. It would have been odd for Lucy to have invented a story about picking up radio signals via her fillings. Spies in California in 1942 is curiously lacking. It's unlikely Japanese spies would have been transmitting Morse code. I don't know. Okay, so either she's lying or it happened. Weird. Okay. All right. That is so ridiculous. I don't even know what to say about that. Rumors of, okay, you're talking about the rumors of picking up radio in their braces. It was unsubstantiated for me for a long time and kind of sniggered at. And then maybe about 5 years ago, I saw something on TV that seemed like they were saying it was legit. and that the dentist could hear it too, something like that. So I thought that was interesting. But like I said, it was just an ordinary person. But I guess once it's established that that can happen, then you're now wide open for weird stories. I mean, this Lucille Ball one, I think we should keep an eye on it. It may be that new information will come forth, or the story will switch to be... One thing the Emmy likes to do is it tells a ridiculous story, and then it backtracks a little bit. Like, oh, this is inaccurate. It really is just this. But even the backtrack story is still fairly ridiculous in many cases. So we may see something like that. Lots of compulsory sterilization in history now. Sweden until 2013. Wow. Oops, spell it properly. Compulsory. Sweden. Really? During the years 1906 to 1975 on eugenics was also a condition for sex change. Okay. Huh. All right, so they did it to 74, supposedly. Nordic eugenics. Huh. Okay, so the ones to 2013, they were saying it was a requirement for sex change operation. There could be reasons behind that. Taking a lot of hormones and things could really mess up your fertility, and so there could be an argument that you should. I don't know. I'm not even going to go there, but there was an episode of Gilligan's Island where he picked up her radio sounds. I don't think I remember such an episode. That's interesting. Maybe if I saw part of it, I would remember, but... All right, next one. All right, this is another one. Pretty sure I want this one, but it looks like I've never clicked on that one before. Okay, so apparently there was kind of a whole war now. Oh, I keep accidentally clicking my own. Quiet me. All right. Mormonism, I had studied this in the past. I do not recall there ever being this giant war. I do recall them not being the most popular people in town in the region for a while, but in 1838, state of Missouri entered into a full-scale war against the Mormons. People were slaughtered, whole villages were razed. It's the last thing you've ever imagined to be part of history of these nice men who go door to door in white shirts. All right, so apparently Joseph Smith was tarred and feathered and nearly castrated. I don't remember anything like that ever happening. The story was that I think he was running away from some kind of problem, and he stayed at somebody's house, and it was claimed that he had relations with the family's 16-year-old daughter, and the town turned on him and beat him and tarred and feathered him. The Mormon church threatened him to murder members who dissented. I could be. I wouldn't know on that one. Mormons and Missourians beat each other to death with logs. Not heard of that. Neighboring towns complaining that their property had been stolen by the Mormons. Mormon population was getting big, blah, blah, blah. Missouri mob tried to starve a town of Mormons out. A Mormon army burned down 2 towns to the ground. Mormons ambushed a U.S. militia. The Missouri governor issued an order to exterminate all Mormons. I should have at least heard that one when studying the history of the Mormons. Missouri militia slaughtered a Mormon town. That should also have been in the history of the Mormons. Joseph Smith staged a jailbreak. That I might have heard something about. I remember him being in jail at some point in his life. Mormons vowed an oath of vengeance against the United States. I've never heard of that one either. I don't know. That whole Mormon history thing, I think it's a lot more violent than it was before. That's another one from Bob Bobertson. Okay, this one is really weird. Okay. This one is weird on multiple levels. Bob Bobertson found this one also. So apparently there's something called the nude Mona Lisa. It's weird looking. You're gonna load. It knows. Okay, so this is the nude Mona Lisa. It doesn't, to me, obviously. Quitted advertisements. It does not obviously look like a female, for starters. The angle here of the boobs are pointing forward, but the body is angled to the side. I don't think that the perspective here is very well. The stomach looks like a man's stomach. It's muscular arms. The face. I don't even know what to make of this thing. It is very just weird. Experts have been scrutinizing and drawing for weeks with one question on their mind. Could this semi-naked, mysteriously smiling lady that looks strikingly like the Mona Lisa be a sketch by Leonardo da Vinci? Let's just pull up what the Mona Lisa is looking like these days. There's already multiple Mona Lisas. We've covered that before. So is this another one? And it's so weird looking. I mean, to me, that does not look like the Mona Lisa. Granted, I don't think she's as good looking as she used to be. That does not look like the Mona Lisa. I don't see at all how this looks strikingly like the Mona Lisa. The face is different. The hair is different. I don't even understand these sentences. How that is. The Mona Vanna, or nude Mona Lisa, is the charcoal drawing is nicknamed, has been attributed to Leonardo's studio since the 20th century, but questions have lingered about the extent of the Renaissance master's contribution to the work. Scientists are now trying to establish who drew it. Anyways, there's some controversy, but it's starting to circulate that this is the nude Mona Lisa, and even just saying that makes it sound like it's Da Vinci. I mean, there's been a lot of changes to Mona Lisa. People have mentioned that she's got her hand on a chair now. A chair is it still in there? Let's see if that chair is still there. Yeah, the chair is still there. It's not super obvious in all of these, but there's a chair there now. Her hand used to be just kind of down. All this cloth here, the veil. Another thing that's constantly changing is this background. It's different from the last time I looked, even. Let me get a better view of this thing. I think the background is... Nope, not that one. Yeah, see, the last time I looked, it didn't have this clear spot here. Weird. Very weird, weird. This is the earlier Mona Lisa I had talked about before, so there's two of them now. See there, that area, I don't know what the heck that is. That was not like that before. For a while there was a waterfall back here. This is weird, looking weird. The background of the Mona Lisa changes early and often. So it's a great indicator. Just look at, see, this used to look more surrealistic. Now it's looking a little more, it's interesting. This whole background has changed a lot since last time I looked at it. And that was only a few weeks ago. I think we've got a lot of Emmy activity lately. A lot. Look at this clear spot here. There was just rock everywhere. Okay, all right, anyway, so yeah, lots of changes there. Let's see what you guys are talking about. I think Amuni Mundi mentioned that one. Oh, really? Did he mention the nude Mona Lisa? He does a lot of art stuff, so it makes sense. I have not really been keeping up with him lately. Yeah, death by log. Can you imagine fighting by beating each other with logs? It sounds like a very inefficient and stupid way to fight. I mean, people had tools and stuff. I mean, if I was going to fight, I would take a regular tool on a stick, like a scythe or something, over a log. Humans have face mites. Yeah, that one came out like a couple years ago. Ugh. It was only talks about Joseph Smith dreaming about going away and leading them to Utah. Yeah, all I remember is some petty stuff in Joseph Smith's history where he had been accused of a couple things. I do kind of vaguely remember him maybe spending a stint in jail before he was the prophet, just kind of in his younger life. That was it. There was no wars. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that I don't think that the Mona Lisa is super beautiful by today's standards, but I mean, at least the regular face, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's quite as good looking as it was, but it doesn't look anything like that nude Mona Lisa. Yeah, the hand shape is kind of similar. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I'm reading the article and it's like a striking similarity. Nope. There's no striking similarity other than that hand shape. Let's see. And you know what? This hand looks huge on this arm too. It's like this hand doesn't look like it belongs on that arm. It's a huge hand. The Mona Lisa's hand is a lot smaller compared to the arm than this one. I don't know. I mean, if they say Leonardo painted that, the face at least looks professional, but this whole body, the boobs are wrong, the way they point, the hand is too big. It's a mess. Ugh. All right. The nude Mona Lisa looks a lot more like the original in the last 3 timelines. Not to me. Not to me. Big lips, man face. The hair looks nice. They did a nice job on the hair. I don't know. Everybody who is imagining Mona Lisa naked has to take responsibility for the new nude Mona Lisa. Yeah, that could be it. I blame you men. Blame it on somebody. The statues and old paintings look more and more alien. The nude Mona Lisa looks like the engineers from the Prometheus movie. I didn't see that one. Okay. I can't believe you read that. I don't know. What did I read? All right. Where are we? I've read worse things. Even some of the names of the logins of people are a bit much sometimes. All right. We got that one. Okay. This one. This one I kind of stumbled into. Thing I've noticed is it just seems like the Mandela has been kind of covering its tracks a little lately. And I stumbled into this one. Now, keep in mind, this is a 2008 article, so it's 11 years old. This is an old article. Yeah, almost 11 years now. So basically, they're saying that the Spitzer Space Telescope got better pictures of the galaxy, and they redrew what they thought the galaxy looked like. But the weird thing is, I've seen most of these changes, that the drawing changes in the galaxy, just within the last few years. It did not go back to 2008. And then all of the old photos changed at once. So what we should see, if this is accurate, is there should be some old photos that weren't updated from the old theories, and then there should be new ones that look like this. They shouldn't all look the same. There should be the scattering. So I'm really suspicious about this article. And we looked and we couldn't find anything a couple years ago. And then I stumble on this one. So they're basically saying that now they figured there's two main arms, and so they no longer count Sagittarius as an arm. So this one is kind of huge because, let's see, what are they calling it? So they're calling the two main arms. Weirdly, they're saying one of the old arms was Norma. Let's see. The early models were based on radio observations of gas and suggested a spiral structure with 4 major star-forming arms called Norma, Scutum Centaurus, Sagittarius, and Perseus. I just don't remember these ones, Norma and Scutum Centaurus. I do remember Sagittarius and Perseus, but not Norma. All right. In addition to arms, there are bands of gas and dust. Our sun lies near a small partial arm called the Orion arm, or the Orion spur, located between Sagittarius and Perseus. Now, they're not saying that we were ever on Sagittarius, but they are saying that Sagittarius was kind of somewhat phased out. So they're saying that basically they just changed it. So this would kind of undermine a lot of the Emmys for this. The only thing is this supposedly happened in the 90s, led to major revisions, and I've only seen all these changes in the last few years. And they're never really coming right out and saying that we were ever considered on Sagittarius either. So now they're saying there's 2 major arms. Sometime even before the 90s, they supposedly discovered this bar at the center of the galaxy. No, that bar thing is relatively new for me, maybe the last 5 years. Anyway, this is just kind of interesting here. Obviously, the skeptics are going to love this one. But I just wanted to point that out. So that's the current Emmy excuse for why the maps have changed. I just don't get how the star maps, even the old ones, have changed. You cannot find the ones we used to see. Not that I've seen anywhere. All right. Let me just see what you guys are talking about. NASA's trolling us. It would seem so. 2008, I don't think so. There are vertical lines on Snoopy's feet. Snoopy. Snoopy, not Snoopy 4. Snoopy. All right, that looks all right. Let's see what we got over here. I do remember. I don't know. I don't think that looks weird to me. I do. I mean, it's obviously his claws. Oh, maybe this. I don't think I remember that. I think the claws are okay. I can't swear to it, but I think that the little claw marks. This, I don't remember, but I mean, that may not be an original. That might be. Yeah, I don't remember that. That's weird. On the bottom of the feet, I don't remember that. Like he's got shoes on or something. Weird. Nope. Yeah, I don't recall seeing that, but I don't know. I wasn't a Snoopy expert, but still. Why do you think that's a nude portrait of a woman? The answer, the boobs and the hair. You have to admit that's a funny. I mean, I get both of your points. I really do. It's just the Emmy, you just have to laugh. I wonder if CERN shutting down for 2 years will mean we will abruptly stop seeing examples of the NME new ones, maybe not undiscovered old ones. I do not think so. I think that things... When did they shut down? Because there's been changes in the last couple of weeks. There's definitely... The changes in the old Mona Lisa are very recent. Very recent. Does Snoopy's tail look weird? Dang, I'm not really a Snoopy expert. Huh. No, I'm not sure on those. Did Snoopy always have a black spot? Yeah, he had a black spot on his back. Some of these are showing a black spot at the base of his tail. I don't remember a black spot at the base of Snoopy's tail. I don't know if it's doing the Pokemon Jam, where Pokemon got a brown spot on the base of its tail, and the tip spot went away. That's the one thing that I'm really seeing that on a lot of these images is this spot in the base of the tail. I remember the one on the back, but not on the tail. Huh. Ah, Snoopy had a black thin tail. It changed and is now white. Yeah, that could be. That could be. I do not remember a two-tone tail, though. That's for sure. I do believe that Snoopy had a collar on before, though. Although, interestingly, this red one looks a lot better to me than this black one. All right, red one right there. I wasn't as much of a Snoopy fan as some of the others. All right, seems to be some certain consensus. His tail was small, thin, and black. Ooh, look, Snoopy at 65. Boink. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s with this funny feet. Well, it was never small, thin, and black in the current timeline. Evolution of Snoopy. You can look at, let's take a quick gander. I don't see any real obvious changes in that one. All right. Did you know there are 2 Matrix sequels? I remember there being 3 Matrix movies altogether. If there's any beyond that, I don't know about them. All right. Back to the creepy crawlies. All right, so apparently giant centipedes kill and eat snakes now. So there's a big centipede stuck on that snake. This is a centipede and this is a snake. The centipede wins this storyline. Let's jump ahead here. So they're saying that these giant centipedes eat snakes, rats, and all kinds of stuff. So apparently insects can now kill not just reptiles, but also small mammals. These giant centipedes are also quite poisonous. So they are bad mofos. Very creepy. Hopefully they don't come to America, but I have a bad feeling that they'll be spreading around. All right, more creepy crawlies. Computer seems to have forgotten all of my past clickings. Yes, I'm quite sure. Look at the leg on this thing. Look how this leg operates. Some kind of weird wasp thing. I have never seen a leg like that before. That is just the weirdest thing. Some people in the comments were saying it might be an Ichneumonidae wasp, which is a parasitic wasp. All right, so the story on these parasitic wasps are that they lay eggs inside a specific host, and then the eggs hatch inside the host while the host is still alive. That seems to be a very popular theme in the current timeline, but there's thousands of different versions of these parasitic wasps, and each one targets a different host. So it's not just a few creatures that do that anymore. This whole parasitic business is getting, I don't know what you want to say, somewhat out of hand. But the leg patterns and stuff on a lot of animals are getting really weird. It's got too many bendy parts. All right, there we go. Did that one. All right, there's one whole page. It only took an hour and 41 minutes. All right, this is a good one. Just when you think anything and everything has become albino, I bet you never thought that trees would become albino. Trees are now albino. Now, if you are heavily into nature, the first question you're going to be asking is, how can it photosynthesize without green chlorophyll? And that opens up a whole host of other weird things. All right, so these are all albino trees. This is the albino leaves. I was just laughing when I saw this. I was like, no freaking way. There's not just one kind of tree that can do this albino business. I swear, look, there's really even more photos than when I first looked last week. Look at this. A whole freaking tree. So how does it survive? What does it eat? All right, so now just a couple years ago, I first heard this story that they were saying maybe it was conjectured that trees could help each other out, like kind of in a communal environment with the roots, that maybe they can communicate, they can warn other trees of impending bug invasions. Maybe. Okay, it was just maybe at that point. But apparently now it's completely established that they also actually link up roots. Certain species of trees will link up roots and all like share water and resources like a giant hive of trees. Okay, so let's just get into some of these articles. Albino ghost trees shouldn't exist, but they do. Okay, so that's how this tree is surviving. Basically, it links up with the other trees, and the other trees feed it. Okay, but why would they do that? All right, the whole story is just, it's not quite as weird as Lucille Ball's filling spies ring breaking, but it does not sound like something from this earth. Flash of white, small and stunted redwood, devoid of color, ghost trees. Exactly where these ghost trees come from has long been a mystery. Yeah, no, it hasn't. I've never even heard of it. All right, Phantom of the Topiary. So supposedly there's a number of these, but they're all hidden and nobody's going to tell where they are. That seems unlikely because it seems to me like everybody's uncle would have blabbed about where these things are by now. But, okay. They can't produce chlorophyll. They can't convert sunlight into sugar. They really shouldn't be, and yet here they are. Moore is the first person to investigate how they work. You're telling me there were albino trees and only now are they even researching them? I mean, scientists would have been all over that. I'm sorry, there's no way. Based on a couple of known facts about redwood biology. First of all, redwoods can share a root network, which they can use to spread resources around in times of famine. All right, news to me, that was just a conjecture like 2 years ago. Secondly, When summer comes, the redwoods that don't contribute to the shared network are cut off and allowed to starve. Okay, so if you don't pull your weight, you're voted off the island in the summer when you're going to die for sure. Okay. This whole thing is just, my brain is like, psh. All right. Naturally, the assumption was that these albino trees had found a way to circumvent that cutoff and keep leaching off the roots of other trees all year long. That's why the albino trees were often known as vampire trees. But that explanation didn't really hold water for more. Redwoods could reliably cut off otherwise healthy trees that weren't pulling their weight, then why would they be fooled by the albinos that never produce sugar in return? He figured the other trees must have been getting something in return, and to figure out what that might be, he examined where each of the park's albino redwoods could be found. Each of the white trees grew in a place with less than favorable conditions. When Moore tested the plant's toxicity levels, a whole new answer came into focus. The white needles were saturated with heavy metals, cadmium, copper, and nickel. Far more than would kill another tree. What if the albino trees justified their existence by sucking up the harmful materials that could poison others? That would explain why the jealous redwoods wouldn't cut off their scrawny white neighbors. All right, so this whole story sounds just ridiculous. Okay, so they're also saying that there is like trees that are partially albino. And some of the partial ones can get really big. There's chimera trees that are a mix of two sets of DNA in one organism, making it half albino and half unmutated redwood. There are estimated 10 such individuals in existence. Then they had to move one because it was right in the path of railroad tracks, 52-foot tall tree. So that's, where was that one? There was an image of it somewhere. I don't know. This whole thing, I have never heard of anything like that. It's just, psh, my brain, psh. No. So, I mean, somewhere on here I saw a seed grew and it was an albino seedling of a redwood. And I'm like, well, first of all, how does it grow much past the seed if it hasn't been able to attach to any other trees yet? So where's it getting its food? How does it grow enough to attach to the other? I mean, unless it ends up growing right next to another branch, how is it going to even link up its root system? How is it going to know to grow in a place where there's poison? I mean, how do the other trees know what it's doing? I mean, I don't know. The whole thing, it's just, no, and no, he knows. There were other trees, too. Look at this one. Albino oak trees, partial albinos. Look at it, just split down the line, too. There's a bunch of albino trees. So, this tree is growing out here. Where is it getting its food from? I mean, how is it getting it if it's just a tiny tree? I mean, is it lucky enough to immediately attach to a local tree and then that tree feeds it? I don't even know. Albino tree seedling. Let me see if I can find that one. Okay, there's a partial albino. What do you want to bet we'll be seeing more of these things? Way more. The thing that's weird is that they're whole trees like this. I just, this whole sharing of the roots and the water, I think that was it there. These look like, yeah, look, these are those cycads? How can a cycad be an albino? I mean, they hardly even have any roots. So what is this thing getting its nutrients from? I mean, I guess you have to argue it's somehow sucking off the neighbors, but you ever dug up one of those cycads? Like, they just have a big, like, trunk, and then there's just little skinny roots off the side. Another albino seedling. Where is it getting its nutrients? There's going to have to be more story on these. The genes that cause the corn to be albino are double recessive. All right, so where is this one getting its nutrients from? I swear there's more than I... Why is that one white? Huh. Ice tree. What's up with this one? Weeping willow tree. Why is it white? Huh. Oh, it's covered in frost, they're saying. Okay. I don't know. It's almost 2. I don't think I'm going to finish everything, but... Albino aliens. We can walk through the fairy woods eating our pudding plants by the light of bioluminescence. I'm sure that we are not far from that. Not far. The albino tree is a socialist. Now, supposedly, they're saying it's pulling its weight by sucking up the poisons. And that's another question. Why is it that an albino tree can suck up more poisons than would kill an ordinary tree? I mean, if it's already a weak tree, then how is it able to tolerate all these poisons? Very weird. Are the albino trees in Australia? Albino tree in Australia. What kinds of weird? What's that? Albino palm tree. Albino palm tree. Where's that palm tree getting its nutrients from? I don't see any neighboring palm trees. I don't get, where is it getting its... Maybe it's a partial? Boy, it looks really light colored though. Yeah. There it is. It's like there's a bunch of them. Okay. Albino redwoods. I know for sure there's oaks, redwoods, and there was several other trees that I don't know what those were. It looks like pretty much anything can be albino now, though. All right. Lucille Ball spy teeth broke Eva. Yep, and the albino trees. But yeah, that's it. I just can't quite. the the me needs to calm down a little bit. Sometimes when there's too many weird ones at once, I'm like, wait. No. I'm waiting for the fairies to become accepted species. You know, we've got the hobbits. We've got blue people. I don't know. Could it get any weirder than blue people? I'm going to skip down to the end because I'm way behind over here. It's weird that UK didn't do daylight savings time at the same time as America. Now, I've been really suspicious about daylight savings time. I don't remember having that as a kid, but supposedly we did. I don't remember changing the clock at all when I was, say, like 10. I don't remember that being an issue until high school, maybe. I'm trying to remember when I first heard of it. But then everybody would switch at once, but then slowly they would switch at different times, and some would switch and some wouldn't. And then they changed when we switched. And they kept changing it. I'm just wondering if it has kind of been a mechanism for the Mandela to mess with time a little bit and hide it by having this time change thing. People are all confused about what time it's supposed to be according to your neighbors. And then because of that, I think it might be a little easier to change people's time zones, basically. That's my suspicion about it anyway. I don't know. Can't explain it perfectly, but I'm really suspicious about it. Because, like, say we all changed at the same time at once, and then you switch time zones as the geography switches, then they'll just say, oh, UK is not switching in the same time that America switches anymore. That's why you're not on their schedule anymore. See, you can hide things that way. Did I see the painted bat? Probably not. The painted bat. Carivola picta. I think I might have seen this one like last week or something. It's not been long. Let's just try it this way. Oh yeah, I have seen this, but it hasn't been long since I've seen it. Very beautiful. Painted bat. Bats are a lot cuter in this timeline. They're all fuzzy. They look like cute little dogs with wings. Look at all. We didn't have anything like that before. Look at those little things. They've got ridiculous ears, insane noses. They're just ridiculous now. All right. Blue might be from silver ingestion. No, the blue people had some kind of a recessive genetic issue where their blood Hemoglobin was abnormal, causing them to not carry enough oxygen, so they would be blue all the time. But weirdly, they were still pretty healthy. I mean, it just seems to me if you had so little oxygen that you turned blue all the time, you would not be doing very well. But these people seem to be fine, basically. Yeah, there was that other guy that did the silver ingestion. That's another weird story. But these guys, the blue people, let's see if I can find that. The blue people. Blah, blah. The Fugates family lived in the hills of Kentucky, commonly known as the Blue Fugates. Blue people of Kentucky, carriers of a genetic trait that led to the disease methemoglobinemia, which gives sufferers blue-tinged skin. All right, so it wasn't that guy. That was the silver ingestion guy. This whole I don't know if this is supposed to be a photo. It's terrible quality, obviously. I don't know how we can have amazing photos of people from like World War II, and then this thing looked like it was painted by a child, but and we're completely lacking in decent color photos of these Fugates. Let's see if we can find any other images. Blue Fugates. Now, my understanding was that there were still a few left, but they didn't want to the publicity of being on camera and stuff now. All right, I'm not really... All right, so are they two of the Fugates? All right, just looks like a series of images. Looks like a clickbait thing here. Blue people roaming the hills. I think these anomalous types are going to just become more and more common. So I think we'll find that more blue people, two-headed people, those are all coming, I think. That's interesting because they just kind of made this link here that they're linking the colloidal silver with the blue skin. I think they could probably argue that if colloidal silver alters the blood enough, then that could also lead to the blueness. See, look, where did that photo go that I just clicked on? See, there's just these weird photos, but there's no explanation other than that one photo, which looks completely fake. It's a really weird photo. But anyway, supposedly these blue people were legit and still live there. Okay. Let's try this one. All right, well, there's a lot of images there. Look at that. See, there was an image, you click on it, nothing. It's a broken link. But right here, this is very intriguing, but you can't, this blue dude, you are here, home blog of blue people of Kentucky. Nearly created their own big blue nation. Now we click on it, are we going to get something? No, broken link. Just teasing. Just teasing. Another broken link. All right, let's just click on this methyl mogo. Let's see, methemog. Lobby. Anemia. Still spelled it wrong. Not that sharp today. All right, what do we get for that? See that guy again, who is the silver taker. No images. Some fingers. Interesting, interesting. There's just parts. I think we'll see more though, but it's not here yet. There's just hints. All right, there's one image. It's just a Pinterest image, so you're not gonna. Is it hunting these down, and you just end up with a dead end most of the time. Look. All right, I give up. You could hunt forever. We're not finding anything. Anyway, I think it'll come though. I think we'll see more of that. All right, where are we? Green people are from Mars. Blue people are from Venus. Yeah, what colored people are we going to get next? We've got blue people. Let's see. Yeah, we could do green, blue, purple. The mud flood should be the greatest thing in history of mankind. I've never heard of it. Just showed up like about 2 months ago out of the blue, pardon the pun. Even the conspiracy theorists I know never heard of it. And now it's like it just went completely viral. Very suspicious. I thought when you're born, DNA stays the same. That's what I was taught. But you know what? That now with the epigenetics, Darwin's theory is kind of getting shoved aside. We've had all the biology changes in us, so our DNA has to have changed. There's no way physically we can change if our DNA is the same, unless DNA is a baloney. I don't know. Maybe it's part of the baloney story of the world. I mean, you can't see it. Blue India people in all kinds of illustrations. Yup. And also the movies making people blue is entities blue is fairly popular. Chartreuse people, yeah, green. Would have been purple in the old days. Do we have green people? I don't think we have any green people yet. Just for fun, let's check it out. Hypochromic anemia was historically known as chlorosis or green sickness for the distinct skin tinge sometimes present in patients. All right, so we have green. Hyperchromic anemia. Do we have any photos? Oh, they gotta have some photos, guys. Come on. Let's see the green people. Nothing yet. Oop. Common anemia. I remember green. All right, so we just got Bart's. They don't show the whole person. Anemicans with green sickness. All right, so we've got green. Ooh, look at how green that one is. Okay, kind of scared of that one. All right, so yep, we got green then. All right. All right, what else do we got? Green, orange. All right. The blue and the blue, dang, that one is weird looking.
If somebody wants to ask a question.
Anyways, I think that the blue one and the purple one could probably be pretty close. Some of that is very purple looking. Argyria. All right, I don't see any purple yet, but I'm sure we'll get it. All right. All right, this one I only heard of in lions. I have not heard of any other animals doing this, but I see it spreading. It's only the last maybe 8 years for lions. The males would kill the offspring of the females if they weren't the father. Somehow they would magically know it wasn't their offspring. Well, apparently zebras do it now. It's kind of sad, but basically, zebras, they're not even a predator, so it's not like they can even eat it. But this zebra is killing this foal. I don't know why the females aren't doing anything, but apparently they don't. If you look at the males are not that much bigger than females, so I don't see why the female wouldn't be kicking some butt. But basically, this male is trying to kill this foal. Anyways, I don't know if he actually does it. I think it gets away, but the story now is that the male zebras will sometimes kill the foals because they aren't their own and they would like to mate with the mare. Okay, so that's new for me. That was never the case before. They did not do that. It's not even a predator animal. All right, Creepy spiders. We've got to have creepy spiders and lots of them. All right. Apologize again for the creepy spiders. Don't look if you don't like creepy spiders. So apparently the daddy long legs horde, I've had these on before, but nothing to this extent. Now they're falling down in giant piles. This is like super creepy. There's super cajillions of them. They fall in these piles, and then the piles all run. Apparently these are daddy long legs of some type. The story is they huddle together for warmth. I really can't see how much warmth you get from a fellow spider body. But, I mean, look at that. Then those chunks, those clumps are falling down. Ugh. Can you freaking imagine? Too much for Evie. Too much for Evie. All right, next. Look at, I'm way over. All right, so I've talked before about animals walking on 2 feet like humans. Here's a bear doing it. Does that look right to you? There's something wrong with his, I don't know, the whole head and everything. It looks like a dude in a bear suit, really. But supposedly that's a young bear that just walks like that. Apparently he had an injury and he feels more comfortable walking like that. I think that's a pretty lame excuse for it, but I can't imagine what injury would feel better walking like that versus your normal way. Normally, if they have 4 feet and something sore, they can lift a leg or something. But anyway, I don't know. Whatever. It just looks totally weird. Sorry, but no, there's just no way that was how they used to walk. Orange, man, too many carrots. That's right. I forgot. If you eat too many carrots now, you can turn orange. I remember now. I forgot about that. You know, in my old days, you just digest the pigment. You wouldn't take it into your whole skin and everything. It's just weird. Just your body would just excrete extra stuff before. But now, if it's going to make you look cool, apparently you won't. You'll just turn colors. I can't fully wrap my head around the ME thing. It scares the bleep out of me. You and everybody else. I mean, it's like my comprehension isn't good enough, or I don't know some of the facts that I need to know to make sense of it completely. We can see patterns. We can guess. People come on and they complain that we're only just pointing out MEs. Well, what else are you going to do? Point them out. That's the only clue we really have about the ME is the actual MEs. The cat, Mishka the cat, the colloidal silver is the best thing on earth. No, I don't know. Is there any TVs or movies from your timeline that are missing here? Not that I know of. There's extra ones. There's extra Star Trek episodes. There's things that have shown up. There's not a lot of, we've discussed this before, there's not a lot of missing things. It seems like the ME would just rather have versions, multiple versions, and more of things, which is one of the arguments for maybe it's timeline combining. As many things as that can be kept from both timelines without conflicting with each other perhaps are saved. So you get more things as the timelines combine. Certain things would be maybe incompatible with each other, so one or the other would be chosen, but where we are in the world, we never change our time. It's always the right time in my area. Yeah, well, you never know. Maybe when you're asleep, the time changes on you. You wouldn't know. Or if you get distracted, you may miss an hour and you wouldn't know. Or maybe the Emmy steals a minute every day. You just wouldn't notice. The boundaries between genders is fading away. Yep. Panda bat. Did we cover panda bat before? I think we did. Sounds familiar. I think that's been on before. Yeah, and I think we just saw it when we were looking at the other bats too. Weird. All right, I'm gonna jump down. Come on, channel. More Laurel and Hardy episodes as well. It could be. Shazam and a Nelson Mandela movie. Yeah, I don't know about the Nelson one. Of course, Shazam is a famous one. But as I recall, it was originally pronounced Shazam. The single Zam with only one A will be the new movie that they just happen to be coming out with. Look at the Spanish shawl nudie branch. There's a million weird nudie branch now. That's been incubating for a while. We've had a number of them on. Ooh, pretty though. The nudie branch are definitely one that there's just cool stuff. Complete Dr. Seuss kind of a thing. Very cool. So you just type in weird nudie branch. Look at all the things you get. Melibi papilosa. That doesn't even look like a plant or an animal. That doesn't look like anything natural. That weird one's an older one. Looks like a yellow submarine, only purple. That one, yeah, I think we've had that one on before. Look at all those. Nudie branch are just out of this world. Just did not have even 10% of that stuff before. Craziness. Look at, you could just scroll on forever. That's why I don't have nudie branch on, because where do you even start? Which one do I even highlight on these? Identify this weird nudie branch. Huh. Where did you even know where to start on these? Look at, you just scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's just weirdness on top of weirdness. All right, do I have a chance to finish this? All right, I'm going to do one more. I'm just getting really tired. It's almost 2.5 hours. So a few of these I'll just have to wait. All right, this one's a neat one, though. This one has gone viral, so you may have seen this one. Okay, so we've heard of ants building, like using their body to build bridges across waters and stuff. I don't think we had that way back in my old timeline. But apparently here they built this whole bridge through the air just to invade this wasp nest. And people were wondering, why didn't they just climb on the wall like normal? And they were saying, well, the walls were too steep for the ants to grab. What they're doing is they're stealing the wasp larvae, and they're stealing them for their own food. So they're saying the walls of a house are too steep for the ant to hold the wasp larva and still stick on the wall. So instead of doing that and then falling off the wall, what they did was they made this funny rope out of their own bodies so they could get up to the wasp nest, which is just completely out of this world. It's just over the top. It's just craziness. But so there's the story. They've done this so they could get at this wasp nest. I still don't really think I totally understand it, though. I mean, why this would be any safer than just trying to cling on the side of the wall. I really don't quite buy it, but that's the story. I don't know. That's the story they're using. So anyway, completely a trip. That's all I have to say. I have a few more, but I think I'm just 2:30 in the morning. It's time for me to kind of call it soon here. So I'm just going to take a glance at what you guys are up to. Since when do spiders need to keep warm? Yeah, the whole thing. And like little tiny spider bodies, I just don't see how much cozying they're going to really accomplish. I can't see the screen. Let me know when it's gone. You don't want to see the creepy ants. All right, let's put it on there. One of my favorite Reddit channels. Anyway, so yeah, the creepy ants are gone. Oh, and the slaughtering of the baby foal. Although it looks like it got away, so that's cool, but the twitching meat, the meat seems alive again once one puts salt on it. That was kind of a thing just a little bit before for me. I actually had one on quite a number of months ago where somebody rammed a filleted fish into the oven and it was bouncing all over the oven in there. There was another one where someone was trying to scale the fish and it was jumping all over the place. I think that the mussels definitely continue on a lot longer in this timeline. I remember Eva showing this bear before. It wasn't this exact bear. The bear I showed before, what was it? It had a busted paw, and it was an adult. And it walked because it had a busted front paw. It didn't run as fast as this one, and it just didn't look quite as weird as this one. But it's a thing. And I also had how the gorillas, the silverbacks, can walk on two legs fast now. They didn't used to be able to do it like that. It looks like a man in a bear suit. Yeah, I know. It does not look right. Let's not search for twitching meat. Yes, you know what? You're right. I spared you on that one. But I've already had that fish on all flopping. The Green Children case. That one's been on before, Dark Wolf. I don't know what to make of that. I don't remember ever hearing that story until about 3 years ago. You guys can look it up, but it's just an old story where these two children were found, and the children said they came from underground, and they had different kind of people that lived there. And if I remember correctly, they had trouble finding food that they'd eat, and one of the children died, and the other one did make it to adulthood. Helen Skies Gazer is heading off. Yeah, I'm heading off too soon. All right, yep, I think it's time. So the last few, they could wait. Oh, I don't think there's anything. There's a few more interesting history ones. Hopefully history will stay the same for another week. We can finish it next week. Or who knows, it might be even more weird by next week. Anyway, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I got a lot of good Emmys from you guys tonight, so you added a lot to the show, so thank you all.